You don't need more motivation. You need a culture that nourishes you. Because if the environment doesn't support the vision, you're just dooming yourself to keep starting over and over, crashing out and burning out all the time. One of the real reasons that you keep restarting is not because you don't have a lack of discipline. It's that you're trying to sustain new habits and an old culture. The culture that you created within yourself, within your family, within your community, and your relationships that likely told you either weren't enough, you had to work hard, money was non-existent, you were doomed to a life of struggle, and on and on and on, that so many people have heard and replicated in their lives. Now, the trick is when you start to realize that the culture that you've created for yourself is not giving you what you want, you've got to be brave enough to face yourself and make the change. See, it's really not about having the courage to face other people. That's what we tell ourselves. Most of us, if given the opportunity, will truly say, fuck them people. Let's be real about that, okay? But there comes a time when you realize you're afraid of facing yourself. Because to face yourself means that you have to change everything. The pace that you live life, the beliefs that you give vision, purpose, and passion to, the people that you choose to hang around, the mindsets and the paradigms that have governed you all this time. Literally everything has to collapse in order for the new, healed, healthy version of you to come forward. And most times we're so afraid that it's not going to live up to the hype that we have in our head that we keep sabotaging ourselves. That's the real conversation that most often we're afraid to have. So let's have it. If you haven't watched the previous 2 weeks videos, now's the time to get on them. What I want for you to recognize is that everything starts within you. So you first have to navigate the culture that you have created. Second, you've got to figure out why you keep crashing out and burning out. And then now here, the third week, I want to talk to you about facing yourself. That means facing the culture and the ecosystem that you've created within yourself. The conversations that you have in your mind, the conversations that you have with the people that you love, the circumstances that you keep repeating, the environments that you choose to exist in. Now, disclaimer here, because let's be real. There are some things that we don't have full control over. We can't possibly control every single thing in this earth, every single thing in this stratosphere, every single person around us. I get that. But there's a lot that you do truly have control over. So I'm not talking about if you're having financial challenges because you literally live below the poverty line, right? You're trying to exist paycheck to paycheck. That's not a judgment here. What I'm talking about is when you have access to things, but you tell yourself, no, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't use that. When you have access to people that will truly help you and you say, nah, I don't want their help. I'm going to get it out the mud like everybody else did. That kind of bullshit. Because why are you making this harder on yourself than you have to, right? I'm talking to the people that have options to change jobs, but you stay in the job because, well, it's closer to your house. Or, well, this is the career that your family members went into, your great-grandfather, your grandfather, your grandpappy, 5 generations ago, right? And every woman in your family has done the same thing since before World War I. Get what I'm saying? And this is not to be antagonizing or ugly to anybody, but this is that truly in-your-face conversation that so many of us have avoided for so long that we've kept ourselves in pain. Yeah, you. I'm raising my hand right along with you because I've been guilty of it so many times in my life as well. And I had to have these hard conversations with myself, which is why, because I love you so much, fellow fire starter, I am having them with you now. Got it? All right, let's get back into it. So the culture and the ecosystem that you've created internally make a big difference when it comes to how you engage in your everyday life. The thoughts that guide you, the feelings that you give into every single day, the people that you choose to give the most time to, the places that you frequent the most, whether it's your job, hangout places, church, family homes, community centers, whatever it is. All of those things and those people participate with you in creating the culture and the ecosystem that guides you, right? That's your daily rhythm, your relationships, your inner dialogue, whatever you want to call it. That's the programming that dictates your every single day momentum. Now, what you've got to learn how to do is teach your body and your system to respond to something different. Because if that culture and that ecosystem has been chaotic or constantly bringing up feelings of dread, constantly making you feel anxious, exacerbating mental health or medical health issues, those are all clear signs that you've likely been ignoring for a minute, that it's time for a change. Listen, stop playing with yourself. You can play with me and anybody else that you want to for all the time that you want to do it. You're the one that's going to miss out. But when you play with yourself, you literally keep yourself locked into your cycle of pain. And if you're listening to this video, that ain't what you want anymore. So let's get to it, right? Let's call a spade, call a thing, set this shit on fire, tell the people fuck them, and make the positive changes that you need to make in order to have the life that you truly desire to have. Whatever it is that you don't like, you now get to decide whether it's in your control to make a positive change, change directions, change momentum, switch up patterns. Okay. If overgiving, as an example, is one of your patterns, people pleasing, lack of boundaries, not knowing how to say yes for yourself, not knowing how to say no to other people. If any of those things are constant patterns that you experience with anybody in your life on a regular basis, that's your system calling out to you saying, hey, stop it. Are you willing to stop it is the question. To evolve in a sustainable way, the ecosystem within you has to change. Now, I know you're probably like, ecosystem, what the fuck? No, seriously, because ecosystem and culture are two words that I use in my corporate training workshops literally every single time. But the reason I use them in the corporate workshops is because I'm talking to people and I'm sharing with those people how to make changes in the professional environment and the personal environment. And that's why I'm giving them to you today. Because when you make changes in your personal environment, they can't help but to affect you in every other area of your life. So if you're not happy in your job, the changes that you're about to make personally are absolutely going to help you to make changes professionally. Whether it's to leave that job, ask for a raise, ask for a transfer to a different department, ask to be cross-trained on something so that you make yourself more valuable in your job description, in the capacity that you have to serve the company, to ask for more money. See how it's cyclical, right? It also helps you to make changes in your ecosystem outside of just your day-to-day job and outside of your day-to-day home. It helps you to make changes in your romantic relationship, but also your friendships, guys. Listen, our friendships have so much control over how we expand ourselves or detract ourselves in everyday life. The people around you in your inner circle, they are either helping to build you or to kill you, because they're helping you to play small, or they're helping you to stretch yourselves and get out there and actually live the life that you truly desire to live. Make sense? Got it? Get it? Let's keep going. Next, I want you to consider whether your intuition has truly been the architect in your life, or whether you've constantly been telling it to shut up and get in the back seat. Y'all know how we do our friends when they are in that backseat of that passenger seat and they're like, you missed your turn. You need to slow down. You need to, and you're like, ain't nobody asked you for your help. Please shut the hell up. I don't know about y'all, but yes, I got some friends like that. But if you're doing your intuition this way, you're actually handicapping yourself. You're literally locking yourself into bondage. Now it's time to call that out for yourself and stop that too. Because your internal culture, your community culture is in part driven by the intuition that you allow to guide you. It's not always about logic and cognitive thinking and critical thinking. Yes, that plays a big role. I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to lie to you. It does. It truly does. But your intuition also has to play a big role. One of them should not be defeating the other one and cow-tying it in the back seat. They should be ebbing and flowing, doing a rhythmic dance together. So that in the moments where your critical thinking is necessary, your intuition says, hey, handle it. And in the moments when your intuition really needs to be leading the show, your critical thinking says, I'm right here with you, but I'm letting you take lead. It should never be that you're forcing yourself or beating yourself down in order for one to take the lead over the other. Does that make sense? I really want you to ask yourself, does that make sense for you? Because if it does, then that's going to help you to see which one is taking the show all the time and needs to learn how to be flexible. Are you so locked in your critical thinking that your intuition never gets to chime in about anything? Are you so locked into your intuitive stance that you do stupid shit because your critical thinking never gets an opportunity to speak up? It should not be that you're walking off a cliff, but that you are taking a journey where both voices have equal stance and they learn how to defer to each other as needed based on the circumstance, okay? When your intuition has structure, it shows you what needs to be pruned, what needs to be nourished within yourself, and you have better self-care. Self-care is one of the foundational things that you have to learn how to do, and you have to learn how to prioritize in order to truly thrive. I also want you to consider devotion and discipline. When your devotion to something fades, when your motivation fades and your willpower wobbles, what the hell is going to keep you going? Okay? Because a lot of us think, I got to white knuckle it. Let me just pump these fists in the air, hype myself up, and battle cry and charge myself into war. And that can be good in some circumstances, but not on an everyday scale. It's not sustainable. Okay? If you build your devotion not as something outward that everybody else gets. Oh, I love these people. I'm going to go to war for them. I'm willing to, ride or die for these. Man, I got it. They call me, I'm rolling. That's beautiful. It's beautiful to love people that much. But are you giving yourself the same thing? Are you giving yourself that same part of the process? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Your inner devotion is the daily practice built around your deeper why. And that why, when you figured out, why do I show up? Why do I believe in this? Why do I feel these things? Why do I want to be here? Why do I want to be there? Why do I want this person close, etc., etc., etc.? When you're willing to ask yourself why, it becomes a lifestyle. Small daily rituals, micro choices, all of those things create the culture and the ecosystem that you need in order to not only sustain yourself, but to nourish yourself. And if you want some support, I got you, baby. Let's go. That is literally why I created the intuitive bundle, the intuition bundle. It is focused on helping you rebuild the foundation of you. Learning to tune into the questions that your body is asking you, your psyche is asking you, your spirit is calling you to dive deep into. Helping you design a life that feels more fully aligned, more nourishing, more supportive, more sustainable. And if you're ready to truly dive in the deep end, I got you, baby, because that's what the Soul Nourishing Mentorship is all about. We literally help you become the architect of your internal culture. I hope to see you there.